G'day, you cunts! Welcome to episode 18 of the Greencast, a podcast by me, Mr. Greentext, where I ramble to myself for an hour in my own bedroom. Occasionally I'm not so crazy because I'm joined by people. This week is not one of those weeks. So as you can probably already tell, my voice sounds a bit deeper because your boy's a bit sick. I've had this fucking, cold fucking thing for, the past, week and a half, 2 weeks at this point. Fucking hate colds, man. Because it's just, you're basically a fucking snot machine at this point. And, I was taking, I think I even talked about it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. I have these fucking pills that you take to try and prevent getting a cold. And I was taking, 2 a day, and I still fucking got it. So fucking kill me. But, I got a few things to talk about. Mostly that your boy's been real fucking busy this past week, with a bunch of film stuff. But before I get into that, I thought I might get into a story that you probably already, the reason why you clicked on this video, probably. Let's not lie. Fucking up on Tinder. So I've had Tinder for a while. I could imagine a bunch of you betas probably have as well, considering my audience. I'm one of those cunts that have Tinder Gold, where basically I pay $20 a month, which is but I can afford it, and it's kind of disposable income that I have, and whatever, I can fucking afford it. Basically what Tinder Gold is that it allows you to, one, set your location to anywhere in the world, so you can swipe from anywhere. Two, people that like you, you can find out first. So for example, if some girl, for some reason, swipes right on me, I get a notification on my phone saying, hey, somebody liked you. And I just have this new circle that tells me, who's liked you. And then I can immediately like them back so I can know that I can get a match or super like them, whatever the fuck. And the best way to do that... Oh, also, it gives you 5 super likes as well. And so the way that you want to get more matches with it is not just using the likes. Is that because you know that you'll match with them no matter what, you just super like them most of the time, and then they're like, oh, he super liked me. I'd better message him back. Or I'm like, oh, fucking, I'll message him, and whatever the fuck. And literally, my past 4 or 5 conversations over Tinder have all been with chicks that I've super liked. So, I'm on set at the time as well, and I'm just oh, I've got a couple likes, whatever. So if I can super like a couple chicks. And not even 2 days in a row, I get messaged first, which is fucking absurd on this goddamn app, let me tell you. Because majority of the time, girls are oh, I want a guy who messaged me first. Or don't even, or either that or they don't, either that or they just don't even reply. Because I can imagine, well, girls have all the power on Tinder. I'll say that. Because I've seen some of my friends who are girls, and some of their Tinder profiles, and they have literally thousands of matches. Because guys yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they fucking pretty much every girl on Tinder, just trying to get something. So girls have all the power, and so I super like this one chick, and she messages me, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, dude, got message first. What do I need to say? I got a couple my profile's okay. It's got a couple my props and stuff. I had a girl message me the other night, just hey, I recognize that gun. And I'm like, hey, it's this thing from this thing. It's a really good film. You should watch it. And then she just didn't reply. And I'm like, oh, okay. Fuck you. And so this girl messages me. This was Friday last week. She said, wanna fuck. And I'm like, boy, this could be me fucking time. This, I could finally, goddamn, get laid. Because, whatever, I'm still a fucking virgin, whatever the fuck you. And I'm like, oh, man. And I'm like, I look at her profile, I'm like, oh, she's kind of cute. I'd say maybe, 7.5? Maybe 8 out of 10? You can look at it and just be I'm pretty proud of that. type type thing. Oh, it's so fucking misogynist, but whatever, I don't give a shit. Yeah, so she messages me like, wanna fuck, and I'm like, fucking hell, what do I do? Because I'm just like, well, obviously I want to, but do I just say yes? And does it just happen from there? And, like, I panicked. And I just said, geez, pretty direct. And then, like, one of my best friends, I just, like, we screenshot all of our Tinder stuff, and we sent it to each other. So I screenshotted this, and I sent it to my friend. And, I'm like, what do I do? Help! And he just says, wow, yeah, that is pretty fucking direct. Just be like, oh, take me out to dinner first. Jesus. And so, after I said, geez, pretty direct, I then followed it up with, take me out to dinner first. Because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I want out of this. Do I want a fuck buddy? Is this someone that I just meet up and fuck with? Do I want a girlfriend out of this? I didn't know what I want. So I'm just like, oh yeah, take me out to dinner first. And so she takes then another day to reply, basically. And then she comes back with, that's not very polite. How about you take me out for dinner? And then I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, immediately this chick's trying to spin it around with, fuck you, you spend money on me. You're the one that wants something out of this. And I'm like, God fucking damn it, dude. And so, back I go to my friend. I screenshot the message, send it back to him, and I'm like, check out this fucking shit. And he's like, I got a good response for you. He told me to say, if you take me out to dinner, I'll take you out to dinner if you make me breakfast. And then I'm like, what? What is that supposed to mean? And so I'm like, yeah, I asked my mate that. I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? I don't get it. And then he's like, well, if you take her out to dinner and she makes you breakfast, that means that you'd be staying around her house. Or she's staying around your house. And I'm like, oh, fuck. That's not bad. So I sent it to her. And then she oh, fucking, hold on. Whoops. Almost brought it up. Yeah, so I say that to her, and it takes her maybe like 6 or 7 hours to reply. And then she hits me back with, maybe. Fuck! God damn it! So I'm like, where do I fucking go from there? Do I just be like, just wanna fuck? Do I be like, yeah, you wanna, I'll take you out for dinner? I don't know what the fuck to do, man. And so I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And so then, this is still the same weekend. And so then I'm looking through like her pictures. And I did a hike a couple weeks ago. Well, I'm trying to do a hike every couple weeks at this point. And I thought I recognized it. I'm like, hey, is that the top of Mount Blank? I'm not gonna fucking say it, obviously. Is that the top of Mount Blank? Is it in your last picture, isn't it? And that was Saturday last week. And then she replied to me Thursday, which is like, what's that, 5 days that she took to reply to that? And she just said, nah, it's this mountain. And I'm like, oh. And I haven't replied to it because I don't know what to fucking respond to it, dude. Do I just say, hey, is that offer still up? Fucking. And like, she's like 8 kilometers away too, so it's like pretty fucking perfect. Like, it's a nice driving distance between us. So like, I don't know what to do, dude. If there are any chads out there that know how to fucking slay the poon and talk to women, fucking let me know, man. Do I hit her up asking for poon again? Because this is a rare fucking scenario where like I don't know how fucking guys do this. Where they just well, I guess so. I mean, it's kind of direct. I'm not the kind of person that just like hit up a girl on like Tinder and be like, "Hey, wanna fuck?" Because I'm like, I feel like, I don't know. I once had a girl say that I was like a 7, and I'll fucking take that, man. So I feel like I'm not really in like a position to really like say, "Hey, you wanna fuck?" Because again, I'm not that, I'm not that. Well, I'm built, but I'm still got a bit of chub. So I'm like, I'm not really that kind of person anyway to say that sort of shit. And I'm in this really rare position where she's already said it first, so I can kind of say it back to her, and we'll fucking see the response, I guess. I mean, it's Tinder. Who fucking cares? I could just say it back. I could never fucking meet this chick. I could say whatever the fuck I want, to be honest, as long as it's, I'm not illegal or whatever the fuck. But I don't know. It's I've never had this fucking happen to me before. One where, well, I've already had. I could count it on one hand. We'll fucking say that the amount of times that a chick has actually messaged me first, let alone messaged me first, hitting me up with the wanna fuck. So help me, fucking guys. What should I respond to her? Let me know in the fucking comments down below. Oh man. But yeah, Tinder's okay. I've literally never gotten anything out of it, but who knows? Something might come out of it yet. So last week as well, I was on the big film set that I was talking about last week. I think I talked about it. I can't even remember at this point because I'm so fucking exhausted from this week. I've got so many meetings, man. But last week, I was on a bigger production that was actually funded by Screen Queensland, which if you don't know, because most of you probably don't, I don't know. All I really know of is Screen Queensland and Screen Victoria, which are like the big, I think, government funded, like organizations that then fund like other films that get pitched to them. So it had like a good budget and stuff too, and it was a horror short film. That also had like a physical monster and stuff too, and it was the monster was pretty fucking cool. There was some pretty like, I don't know how to describe it. It was a dude in a suit, and like he had a really cool like latex mask and stuff too, which is nice to have that on set, like an actual physical monster rather than like CGI. Oh, as well as it was like a weird goat man as well, and so the guys built some goat legs on poles so they could have some close-ups of like the goat hooves like going inside places, which was pretty fucking cool as well. I got plenty of pictures, but I obviously can't show them because NDAs and that sort of shit, and people might get shitty on me because they know me on Instagram. But yeah, the thing that I was probably most surprised about was how friendly everybody was. Like, the crew was basically like industry like professionals, I'd say. Like, I was basically working as a lighting assistant to the gaffer, which the gaffer is the person that's in charge of the lighting, that usually follows whatever the DOP or the cinematographer says that they want in the scene, and then he'll light it accordingly. I was basically just helping lugging around a bunch of these studio like lights and that sort of shit, which it was outside in a night shoot as well, which I'll fucking get to in a second. But I was basically lugging it around on like the other side. We filmed in like a bus transport yard, and so we set up like buses and that sort of stuff. Fuck off, Windows, you piece of shit. I don't give a fuck. I shouldn't have any viruses. Yeah, fuck off, cunt. Yeah. So yeah, it was lighting like this big bus in like the middle of the night. Which, yeah, fucking the hours are pretty fucked as well. Which I didn't get paid as well. I only got paid in like travel, which I don't know if I've even really got paid for that yet. I've sent my invoice off, but we'll fucking see, I guess. Yeah, the hours were Friday and Saturday, because it was all night shoots. So Friday and Saturday was 4 p.m. call time, and then we wrapped at 3 a.m. So like 11 hours of basically the time when people sleep. And then Sunday was 2 p.m. till we ended up finishing at about 12 a.m. And the other fucked thing about it was that it'd take about an hour and a bit, hour and a quarter, hour 15 minutes each way just to travel there. And so like that morning or like the Friday, I made sure like I had a nap before I went because I'm like, I ain't gonna fucking last. Thankfully, there was heaps of like energy drinks on set, so I was basically like living off those. I had probably like fucking 8 energy drinks over the span of that weekend, man. But especially the turnaround between Friday and Saturday are probably the worst, because it'd be the thing where, because call time would be 2 p.m. the same day. Oh no, not 2 p.m. 4 p.m. The next day. It'd be like I'd go home at 3 and then be home at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then I'd sleep for probably about 5 hours, so I'd wake up at like 9. Wait, was it 2 p.m.? Might have been 2 p.m. the entire time. No, it must have been 4 p.m. Yeah, I'd wake up at like 10, and then I'd, do my routine and whatever the fuck. Have lunch at 12. And then, do something else for like an hour and a bit. And then fucking have to drive back to set. Oh, man. Yeah, I was supposed to just wake up, do some stuff, fucking have lunch, do some stuff, and fucking leave and go back again, dude. It was fucking brutal. And the first night fucking rained as well, which that was fun. Thankfully, I had my cable poncho, which it's an actual poncho, so I just fucking took that with me, and it was the fucking best thing I ever did, because I didn't have to lug around an umbrella. I was basically just wearing around a little hoodie, and it was the fucking best thing ever, dude. I could sit down in the dirt, because it was pretty long, and not get my fucking pants all dirty and shitty. It's the best idea that I ever had, man. But, nah, it's just like an all-around good experience, and the main reason why I wanted to do it is, well, I wasn't getting paid. So the whole reason I was trying to do it was so I could make contacts on set. Which I did, thankfully. I tried to be as nice as I could. But, like, back to, like, the everyone being nice, as you'd show up and, like, introduce everyone would just, like, give you, like, handshakes and stuff as well. Even, like, when you'd leave, it'd just be like, oh, fucking, catch you later, mate. And they'd just, like, give you a handshake, goodbye. And it's even, like, literally everybody on set. Everyone from, like, your own department to, like, camera department, to even, like, some of the actors and stuff, too. Which is, like, I don't know, compared to, like, some of the stuff that I've heard on, like, American sets, like, a lot of people are just, like, I turn up to do one job. I turn up to do one job, and that's the only thing. Just leave me in my zone. And, like, being really, like, antisocial, and they're just, like, looking at it as more of, like, a 9-to-5 sort of job, which is, like, I think the wrong way to look at this sort of stuff. Because film is collaborative. So, of course, you want to try and, like, make connections and make friends on the set and everything. So you can actually, work together well. And, I was basically, as well, just being a runner on set. Which is basically just, like, the person that you tell to go get things, or go move things and stuff as well. Or go get this actor for me, please, and da-da-da-da. But, I want to get into props and editing in the film industry, as you guys probably already know. And so, the production design on set was pretty fucking cool, too. Because it was, like, this train yard. Not train yard, that was my fucking film. Bus yard. There's a couple similarities I'm starting to find here. The production designer was setting up a bunch of, like, is trying to make it, like, sort of abandoned-esque. With, like, crates scattered around everywhere and just, like, shit scattered everywhere. Not actual shit, I'm just using that as, like, terminology for just, like, crap. I'm not talking about poo. Oh, man. This is what I hate about Australian lingo sometimes, is it's just, like, you just say, like, swear words for literally everything, and it's just how it happens. Like, you leave something somewhere, just like, oh, let me just go get my shit, hold on. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, production design. Yeah. So, there was a lot of times where it's just, like, he needed, like, a big fucking pallet. And, he was struggling to, like, lug around some of the time. So he's like, oh, could you, come help me? And I'm like, yeah, sure, man. So I just, like, thankfully, because I've been going to the gym literally every day for the past 3 years, it was no fucking trouble. Like, these big fucking pallets, like the big wooden ones that you use for, like, I don't even know, like, storage and that sort of stuff. I'd fucking just throw it on like my shoulders and then just lug it away like it was nothing. Well, I wouldn't say like it was nothing, but you know, it was a lot easier to lug it on my shoulders than try and like drag it or like lift it or whatever the fuck. It was pretty funny too, because he watched me do it and he's like, "You okay, dude? You okay with that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm fucking fine. I can squat like fucking 100-something kilos. This is nothing to me." And he's like, "Huh, okay." And yeah, like a back, no fucking, like a back, no problem. And as I'm like getting back there, and I helped him a couple times like that. The producer on set as well. During one of the breaks, it's just like, "Oh, if anyone needs anything like big move, just hit up this strong guy, this strong young fella down here." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fucking strong, boy." But every now and then the production designer would just like, you know, just be like, "Hey, could you help me like cut the fence here?" And not like breaking in cutting, just like, "Oh, we need to raise it up a bit." And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go help you do that. And I'd help him like do that for like half hour or so. And of course, in like, you know, you get the chat like, "Oh, what's your background? What have you done? What do you want to get into?" And I'm like, "Oh, this, and this." And I'm like, "Oh, I want to get into like the actual like prop department and production design and like maybe even editing too." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And I explained to him some of the stuff I did, and he's like, "Oh yeah, nice. Fucking, oh, maybe we should make friends a bit." And no, he didn't say that. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, just having a good chat about that sort of stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, nice, man." And didn't really think that much of it. But on set as well, the main character had scissors in her hands. And so obviously they needed a rubber versions of the scissors. And so we had 3 versions of scissors on set. One real scissors where you could cut, because there was a scene where she had gum in her hair and she needed to cut gum out of her hair. So we needed real scissors. And then we had glued scissors where they wouldn't open. And then we had the rubber versions of the scissors. And I've made like foam versions of weapons before, and like everything else. I don't fucking learn. I don't know why I don't goddamn close Facebook every time. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I've made like foam versions of stuff. Where like, you know, from a distance you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But up close, like side by side, it's pretty easy to tell that like, yeah, this is the fake version and that's the real version. These ones you actually couldn't fucking tell. And we had to keep the rubber ones in a bag the entire time because, yeah, you will literally get them mixed up until, like, you know, you picked it up and immediately to be like, "Oh, these are soft and fucking rubbery, okay. These are obviously the fake ones." And because, I almost said his name, because the production designer on set was actually, like, in charge of, like, props and stuff too, I asked, oh, what the fuck was that? I, like, coughed mid-sentence. I asked him, like, "Oh, did you make those rubber scissors? Because they're pretty nice." He's like, "Oh, no, I didn't make them. I just got them made by some guy up in the Gold Coast." I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Yeah, he's a pretty good guy. He's pretty good at what he does. He's the guy that made Thor's hammer." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Just fucking casually drops it. Just feel like, "Oh yeah, no, we had the guy that made like the rubber versions of Thor's hammer. Just like make some scissors for us." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." Fucking hell, man. Yeah. So after all this, I look up a bunch of the guys' IMDb, which if you don't somehow know is the Internet Movie Database, where people like credit themselves and whatever the fuck. And so I look at the production designer stuff, and he's done a little bit of work on like some TV shows in here and there. And then I fucking see he fucking worked on Aquaman last year, which I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." Which he was like a prop design and runner and stuff. And I'm like, "Oh fucking hell, okay." He's working on the big productions. And I'm trying to find him on LinkedIn and stuff too, because I'm trying to like add them, because that's like the sort of like supposed to be the professional sort of networking social media platform. So I tried to find him on that, and I can't find him, and I'm like, fuck it, whatever. I'll just bloody add him on Facebook. And on my Facebook, I have my cover photo as a bunch of like props and stuff that I've made. And so I add this guy on Facebook, And he accepts, and then he messages me, and he's like, "Hey, did you make all that stuff in your cover photo?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, fucking, I've 3D printed a lot of the stuff. Some of it is crafted foam, and yeah." And I explained to him a little bit more about it, and he's like, "Oh, that's really cool, dude. Do you mind if I come up and just check out like your little workshop and whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" So I'm like, "Of course, yeah, man. Fucking come up and come check out some of my stuff." And he's like, "Oh, sweet." So he came around on Thursday afternoon, which I'm currently recording this on Saturday, so 2 days ago. And yeah, he came around, and he immediately walked into my workshop, and he's like, "Whoa, dude, look at all your stuff," and immediately geeked out on a lot of the stuff. He's looking around some of my helmets. He's like, "Oh, C-3PO." And he's like, "Oh, can I touch it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, take it off. It's got magnets and stuff, so you can take it off and wear it if you want." He's like, "Oh, yeah." And he's like, "Oh, those Wolverine claws," which I made some like Wolverine claws last year. They're really shoddy for a Logan cosplay, like a really bloodied up Logan, which looked pretty cool. He's like, "Oh, they're Logan claws," and I'm like, "Yeah, you want to like them?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And then I like I took a picture for him in the C-3PO helmet, holding the Wolverine claws. It was pretty funny. So I'm like, "Oh, if this guy that's like, working on like some of these bigger productions is geeking out on some of the shit I'm making, I think I got a pretty good fucking chance here." And he's looking around and explaining to him like how 3D printing works, because a lot of people don't really know how it works, and even he didn't really know. And so explaining that to him, and he's like looking around and looking at my little sword collection that I have, and he's like, "Oh, is that Jon Snow's sword?" And I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "Oh, can I look at it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So I go and bring down the Jon Snow sword, and he's like, "Oh, I need to take a picture with this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we go out into my living room, and he like kneels down and like takes a picture. I take a picture of him with the Jon Snow sword, and we go back in and I put it back, and he sees my Aquaman trident, and he picks it up, and he's like, "Oh, I held one of the real ones on set. Well, there's about 12 of these. One of like 12 of them that were on set. I was just there at like 7 p.m. at night. I could have just like thrown it in my truck and driven away. And no one would have bloody known." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like fucking, oh, it's so weird that it's just like, "Oh, cool." Which, I mean, it fucking worked. My plan worked. I met someone on set that's like on these productions and getting into the places that I want. And yeah, I explained to him like, "It's a little bit shoddy. I can't really sell it, but it looks the part." And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, it looks really good." And no, yeah, afterwards he's just like, "Oh yeah," with a bunch of like these guns and stuff. There was a film an Australian film that came out not too long ago here called Occupation, which is like this really cool sci-fi, not short film, it was a feature-length film. And it did pretty well. Missed its premiere though, unfortunately, and it didn't really have much of a cinematic run, where it was like in cinemas or anything. But there's going to be a sequel, not that long from now. It's like, "Oh, I'll talk to some of the Occupation guys and see if I can get you on like some of the sci-fi guns, and like I'll see if I can get you on this production too. Just give me details and whatever, because you do some pretty good work." And I'm like, "Oh boy." So your boy might make it on the next fucking like DC fucking feature film or whatever the fuck else comes to Australia next, dude. I finally maybe got my ends, and I'm only fucking 19, cunt. Oh, fuck. So yeah, that was basically like that whole fucking thing that went down. And then the other thing that I had like meetings with this week was one of my friends that I graduated from university with hit me up saying, "Hey, this guy wants to talk to you because he needs an editor for his project." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, he sends me a message and he's just like, "Hey, these are the dates that we're shooting. These are the dates that we want to aim for and edit. As well as it's a 45-minute film." And I'm like, "Oh, fucking hell, man." Which is that weird thing where it's kind of like in between like short film and feature. So I guess it's like a short feature at this point. And he didn't tell me anything about the actual film. He's just like, "It's a 45-minute film. These are the dates we're shooting. These are the dates we're editing." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I could probably do that." And I met up with him and a bunch of the other a bunch of other guys, which just literally ended up being like the director guy that I've never met, and then the rest of the crew was like people that I graduated university with. So I'm like, perfect, I already know all these people. And yeah, he told me about it, and I'm like, oh, what genre is it? And he's like, it's a psychosexual thriller. And I'm like, a fucking what? So he goes to like explain some of the like beats, which is like the main parts and stuff in a script. And it's basically kind of about like this gay cam relationship, gay guy. It's not gay girl, unfortunately. And then like this weird like molestation and stuff. And like the entire time I'm like, this kind of sounds a bit poopy, to be honest. And then like he mentions like one of the last scenes where a guy gets his penis shot off. He plays with his fucking where his knob should be, as he like almost fucking dies. And I'm like, holy shit. There's a lot of other like weird naked scenes and shit like that too. And so I'm like, there's not many times I'm gonna be on like a production where a guy gets his fucking dick shot off. And like I'm trying to get into like a little bit of film armory too, so I can provide fucking the gun for set and everything too. So I'm like, I could probably do it. And let him do his whole fucking spiel and everything, and you know, we have dinner and whatever the fuck. And then I'm like, oh, is this paid? Because this is also for the masters for the university, which I did my bachelor's. You could go back and do your masters. And so he was the only one doing his masters. He just needed some more crew to actually fucking make it. So I'm like, oh, is this paid? And it's like, I do have some more money coming in, and I can pay you. I can pay you a bit. And I'm like, oh, fucking thank Christ. Because it is getting to that point now where I don't want to do too much more free work. Because my time is becoming a little bit more valuable. One with like, you know, working on bigger productions like that, and having to do YouTube, where that is one of my main sources of income at this point. So it is kind of a job, which is going really fucking well as well. Thank you guys. Thanks for 50 fucking K subs as well, by the way. I get a special video coming soon. I'm immediately going off rails again. I get a special video coming soon. I'm just waiting for something to be finished, and then I'll go pick it up, and then I'll fucking make the video. But what was I fucking talking about? I immediately went off. Oh yeah, income and free work and stuff. Yeah, YouTube is like one of my main sources of income, and it's also been growing fucking so much lately. Which fucking, yeah, thank you. Thanks for all the new cunts that are watching too. Appreciate you. So yeah, that's if it was unpaid, I'd definitely give it a lot harder thought, because it does sound kind of boring up until like the dick shooting, to be honest. Oh man. And so I'm like, oh yeah, you could probably do it. And so yeah, I'm just waiting for like more responses and stuff, and you know, caught the train back with him, whatever the fuck. But yeah, sounds kind of interesting. Definitely something that I wouldn't really go on of my like own accord, I'd say. If someone's just like, here's this weird like gay relationship thing with like a kid that gets molested and a dude gets his dick shot off, it's not really that often that you probably even get that opportunity to work on that sort of thing. And it's going to be even fucked for me being the editor on this project as well, because I'm going to have to fucking stare at dick for so many fucking hours, man. So many hours. Oh, fucking hell. But yeah, that was that fucking, like, whole thing as well. So, yeah, I'm going to be pretty fucking busy working on, like, film stuff, as well as, like, I finished editing that horror short film not too long ago. The sound mix is almost finished on that one. Well, I've just got a couple things to finish, but it's pretty much done at this point. So that's that one. That'll have its film festival run not too long from now. My grad film is finally fucking finished its sound mix after like so many months of fuck around. So then that's in its literal final stages at this point, and then it'll go through I think a final color grade, and then I can fucking render it out, and then that'll have its film festival run too. So yeah, I got a couple films in the pipeline at the moment, so I can fucking build up my portfolio a little bit more, which is like the also annoying thing working on these sorts of productions, where it's just like everyone wants a film festival run, so you can't share anything online, which means you can't share anything on your fucking show reel. So it's like, cool, I worked on these films, can't show you though. Although I did fucking show the guy that came round, the production designer, to my house to check out my stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I worked on this film. He's like, oh, is it online or film festival on yet? I'm like, no, not yet. But I'm like, oh fuck, I have the film. I can just show you. So I showed him the film, and it's actually like, yeah, pretty impressed by it. He's like, oh, did you have to do like? It's also in like an abandoned like train yard too, which is like absolutely perfect. It was like the most perfect location we could ever get. And he's just like, oh, did you do much like production design with like a lot of the inside stuff? I'm like, not really. We just scattered around shit a little bit more. Like, but it was pretty much exactly like as we found it. It's like, oh man, that's the dream. And I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. And yeah, he's pretty impressed with like some of the work that we did, as well as like the stunt guys. Like, there's a part where they do a flip, and he's like, whoa, what the hell? Yeah, he's pretty impressed by it. So I think I'm in a pretty good fucking position at this point, methinks. Yeah. So I think we'll just get into the most fucking cancerous and autistic part of this podcast. And that is, of course, where I take questions and stories and shit from you guys. So, if you want to send any questions or stories, life advice, or any of that sort of shit, you can email me at mrgreentext@gmail.com. That's Mr. Greentext with an S on the end of that. Or alternatively, you can comment on the community tab that will inevitably sometime go up next week. Unlike this week, where I completely fucking forgot to put it up. Literally about an hour before I was about to record, I'm like, oh, forgot to put up the community tab. Whoops. So let's give it a refresh and see how many people actually commented in this span. Hopefully there's some. Okay, so there's 5. If they're kind of shit, I might just go through some of the other ones, the people that commented after I did the podcast. Let's see. Before I read these, I might... Okay, these are actually pretty shit, I think, actually, looking at it. But I did get a email this week, so I guess I'll read that. Yeah, also, if you're emailing me, guys, fucking put in your first sentence of your shit, just if you want to remain anonymous or not, because this guy has his fucking real name attached to it, and I'll read your fucking first name, because that's your fucking fault. I won't read your last name. But I got an email from Garrett, and he just says, love your videos, this is the first time I tried weed, and he kind of did this in a green text format, which I don't know how I feel about, because it is kind of cringe, but then also at the same time, my name is Mr. Green Text, but yeah. So if you're gonna send me a green text story, fucking just put it on 4chan and screen cap it, dude. It's kind of cringe if you do it anywhere else. I had a guy send me a while ago a fucking Google Doc that was 15 fucking pages of like a green text formatted story, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna read this, dude. I don't know why I sent it to me. But I'll read yours, Garrett, because whatever the hell. He says, be me, B13, walking through the woods behind the school towards newly built park with some friends to smoke weed for the first time. Wearing dog tags for some reason, obsessed with military stuff. Smoke weed for the first time. Time turns to an old-timey picture show, picture blinking over and over again, plus slow motion. What? Cut my eyebrows on Briars. Blood running down my eyes and everything turns red. Pool of fucking Kool-Aid.jpg. Dog tags feel cold water flowing across my chest. Get to park. Sit on swings. Notices the swings at the park are all sorts of supportive and comfortable. Nice.fyi. Time turns into a completely I bumped the fucking microphone there. Time turns into a complete fantasy and stops altogether. The stop motion feeling shifts, and these strange creatures roll out towards the swings. By strange, I mean holy fuck, dude, sit still, these demons can see us. Mangled faces and wheels for legs. Little spindly fingers where their hands should be. Talking in some alien language that sounded sinister. Friend reaches out and touches one of them. My first when they're actually touchable, real. My first when we realize these alien creatures are potatoes. My first when the tongue wrangler says she's calling the cops. Yeah, that definitely does not sound like it fucking happened, dude. But sure, that was an interesting story, I guess. Alright, let's fucking have a look through the cancer that I fucking got. Yeah, most of these are just shit, to be honest. I've got 5 here. I guess the first one that's kind of okay is from Skillet9922. And he says, did Count Dankula do anything wrong? And he says there is only one correct answer. And the correct answer is obviously no. He just made a fucking meme and people didn't know how to fucking take it. Because people are retarded and don't know how to take into the fact context of jokes. It's not just like he said, I fucking talked about ages ago, man. You can go see it. But yeah, gist of it is fucking Nazi pug. Yeah. He did not do anything wrong. It's just a fucking meme. People don't know how to take in context. So what I might do as well is I'm gonna have a look through comments on some of my old tab listings and people that commented after the podcast went up. It's because sometimes I do get like 10 comments or so, like after the podcast has gone up, even like it's pretty fucking old. So let's have a look at this one and see how I go. Let me just quickly save this first question so I don't immediately fucking lose it. Let's see. Big folder. And then into this folder. Make a new folder. Call it episode 18. Go in there. Save view. Okay, let's see. Scrolling down. Here's a good one. Blind Guardian fan 2902 says, could you beat Creepsworks in a toe wrestling match? So I just read that as wrestling match and immediately I got excited. Toe wrestling match. That's a bit more tricky. Because it was just a straight wrestling match. I reckon I could fucking put that American fatty on his fucking face. But toe wrestling match. I think he might have a size on me. Because I have a feeling Creepswork has big toes. He might put my little toes to shame. So I'm going to say Creepswork could probably beat me in a toe wrestling match. Good old regular commenter on everything. Steve the Nerd says, what is something you'd love to make on a 3D printer, but I've never had the chance? So there is a good number of things that I'd love to make on a 3D printer. But the main reason why I haven't made them is because of, one, they use a fucking shit ton of filament. And two, they have a shit ton of long of a print time, which, because I make money off selling replica props on eBay, I regularly have to keep up my stock, and I just can't really, like, afford to print something for, like, fucking 3 hours. Not 3 hours, 3 days of fucking solid print time. Whoops, bumped the microphone again. The main thing I want to print is, I really want to print a Death Trooper helmet from Star Wars, which is like those black stormtroopers that were from Rogue One. Those ones. I really fucking want one of those helmets. I want to start to build a little collection of like replica helmets like that. There's even a couple like space helmets that I really want to fucking print for myself. That'd be really fucking cool. I have a bunch of like acrylic that I got from this guy that I just happened to know that runs an acrylic cutting business. I just hit him up one day, just been like, hey, do you have any like scraps that I could have? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he like filled my car with fucking acrylic scraps. And so I have a bunch of clear acrylic that I could definitely like make into like visors and shit like that. There's a couple from the TV show Expanse that's on Sci-Fi at the moment. There's a couple like really nice models that I'd like to print from those. Even like some really big fuck off guns. Like I've always wanted to print some guns from like Doom and shit like that. Like the really big fuck off. Well, even like the BFG would be okay, but again, I'd feel like it'd be a waste of filament, and like, where the fuck am I gonna put that shit? Maybe even like the what's it called? I think it's the SMG from Doom. There's a couple really nice models for those I like to print, but again, yeah, it'd use a lot of filament as well as just a lot of time that I just don't have. Yeah, next question. Oh, here's a weird one. Akja Beach Boy, what a fucking weird name, says, which would you rather shoot, a dog or a cat, or the last of the elephants? So, there's one answer to this question, one correct answer, and you're a retard if you shoot anything but the fucking cat. Cats can go fucking eat a bag of shit, man. Why the hell would I shoot the last of the elephants? So, fucking, I hate cats, man. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, like last week, and it fucking put the goddamn, thing in my head of, like, that cats basically exist to, like, kill things. And the only reason they don't kill us because they're, like, obviously the size that house cats are. But every other cat, like leopards and lions and panthers and everything like that, they'll easily fucking kill us, cunt. If a fucking house cat was the size of a fucking lion, of course they're gonna fucking kill us. Like, cats, like, you know, they love to fucking kill birds and stuff. Like, imagine what they'd do if they're actually, like, you know, lion size, man. Like, they just put up with us, and they don't fucking... They're just there to exist. They just like you because they feed you. Whereas, like, a dog is, like, an actual loving fucking animal. Like, I mean, obviously they love you because you feed them. But it's also because you take them for walks and, you know, gives them, like, pats and stuff like that. Like, a cat, you can give a bit of a rub, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna fuck off for, like, 2 days now, see ya. Whereas a dog is just, like, wants to be with you, like, 24/7, because it fucking just loves you, man. Like, you know, why the fuck would you even shoot the last of the elephants? That makes no sense to me. Here's a fucking question that I'm definitely not qualified to fucking answer for. Leon DeGrilly, I'm fucking close enough, man, I think that's your name, says, what are your thoughts on eugenics? So I had to fucking remind myself of what really eugenics was with a quick Google search. And it said, eugenics is a set of beliefs and practices that aims to improving genetic quality of a human population. The exact definition of eugenics has been a matter of debate since the term was coined by Francis Galton. And that's just a fucking Wikipedia. So eugenics is basically genetically and selectively breeding humans, I think? What was the eugenics movement? Names the genetic composition. So I think it's just like, you know, if you have shit genetics, then you're, you know, taken away from humanity and forced not really to breed with people, I assume. Is that what it is? That's what it is? Which, what are my thoughts on it? On one hand, it's a good idea because it benefits to the human race. Because, you know, obviously, if we're gonna have good genetics, and, you know, we're gonna have better quality of life and everything like that. We'll live for longer and all that sort of shit. You won't have the case of Down syndrome. If that's the thing, then, you know, it just, people won't breed. So they just wouldn't exist, really. Those genetics wouldn't be passed down. But at the same time, it's just like, cool, if you know, you dealt a little bit of bad hand, you're just fucked. It's just like, you know, I'd probably be fucked too. Majority of people would be pretty fucked if, you know, what's the definition of bad genetics? Because, like, granted, again, like, I ain't a fucking fatty, but I ain't a fucking skinny guy either. Like, I can't walk more than, like, about 5Ks without, like, chafing in my fucking legs. Like, that's a shit genetic. Or it might just be because I'm fat, I can't really fucking tell. Like, that'd be... If I was living in the fucking 50,000 years ago, hunting for food and shit, and I can't walk more than 5Ks without feeling pain, just fucking die, cunt. I ain't gonna fucking find food. I ain't gonna be able to fucking hunt down a fucking deer and fucking eat that for dinner. That'd just be fucked. So, I don't know. It's that weird grey area. I'm definitely not fucking qualified to be able to, like, talk and debate it. But I think it has its benefits, to be honest. And I'll fucking leave it at that, I guess. Alright, well, I think I'll just call it there for this week, guys. So, if you do have any questions, topics, life advice, questions, or any of that sort of shit, you can email me at mrgreentext@gmail.com. That's Mr. Greentext with an S on the end of that. Or you can comment on the community tab that will hopefully go up next week, and I shouldn't forget, hopefully. But yeah, fucking secret phrase that I forget for every fucking week. How about, let's make this week's secret word, slash phrase, sword. So, have fun with that. Do you own a sword? Do you call your penis your sword? I don't fucking know. Go nuts with that. Yeah, include somewhere in your comment the word sword, so you've made it through this almost hour-long podcast. And I will fucking catch you next week, you cunts.